Okay, so yeah, I wonder if like eating shit for that much time gave you like a real competitive advantage, because you get used to not getting the thing. So now you're not bitter about not getting it, and also you're not afraid about being in the position where you're not getting put over.
Yeah,
because you went heel a bunch of times even after your success.
Yeah, well, and I think it. I don't know. There's something like at that point now, I'm trying to earn my way back up, but at the same point in time, you start to begin to realize, like, oh, well, fuck it. If it doesn't go well, then who knows? Like, I could be here for a while. They could fire me, or maybe this isn't the right place for me, so I go someplace else. Whatever that is, you start to get to a place that is. I don't want to say you don't give a shit, because you do. You care more than anything. But you start to realize, fuck it. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to do my thing.
You're free.
Yeah. It's a freeing. Yeah. It's a freeing.
You're not obsessed with the outcome so much.
Yeah. So when you see us get to a point after that, when I start to get sort of free of that junk, is the time we get to do DX. We had been on Vince for a long time prior to Kevin and Scott leaving, that we wanted to do this group. We wanted to sort of take what we were doing personally and put it on TV, because we thought people will really think this is cool.
Right.
And Kevin and Scott are gone.
You were telling people to suck your dick personally?
We didn't put the dick part in it. You understood what it was. Yeah.
You need to sell those aprons.
What's that?
Suck the chef.
Yeah.
Go look this up.
So that was sort of just us in real life, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's just walking around the backyard, suck the chef.
Austin gets to a place where he's allowed to flip people
sorry.
off.
We
never got to the
story.
Yeah. So I'll get there. But
okay.
like, Austin was in a place where he could flip people off. But prior to that, as we're coming out of that generation, you can't flip people off. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't do anything. As talent, this is before any of this happens. Kev, Scott, myself, like, we had this thing we would do where, you'd get up on the turnbuckle and somebody'd be yelling at you, flipping you off or something, and you'd just look at him and be like, hey buddy, right fucking you know what I mean? That's all it would be.
Yeah.
Or you'd be like, just and they got it.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? And you'd move on. As the Attitude Era begins to form, and sort of, I'm in a place where, hey, I just want to get out of this purgatory I'm in. And Sean's the guy. We get the Vince. Vince allows us to sort of partner up on screen, and DX becomes a thing. And in the beginning, now we start doing all this crazy shit, and he's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" Now, I've also, over that time when I'm punished, I think Vince liked the fact that, man, he threw all this shit at me and I never blinked. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, the only one time I ever went to him and bitched in all of it, and it was because he put me in a match with a guy that was almost impossible to work with, and then gave me like the worst referee that we had.
Yeah.
And like the whole setup was bad, and it went really badly. And I came back and I went off, and it was like, hey, fuck it. If you're going to not allow me to have the chance to succeed, then fuck that. I'm out of here. Yeah. Like, you cannot give me that. You cannot put me in a position where I cannot fucking succeed or cannot win and can't even do my job. Right? Like, if you put me in that position, then I have no choice but to go, because I can't overcome that.
What was it?
I was wrestling a guy that was just terrible. They wanted me to have this long match with him. They gave me the worst referee, which a referee can help you work around people's inabilities, because
like how?
I can talk to the referee. So if I need a guy to do something, he's not doing something right, I can't just always walk over there and tell him, like, fuck, right? Like,
so you tell the referee.
So I'm like, fucking tell him to stop doing that, and fucking, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and the referee can go over and tell him, he said, stop doing that, do this, right? And I have enough experience to where guys will listen, but I need that. Sometimes you need the help, especially on live TV.
Yeah.
Or even tape TV. You just need to have that help.
Who was the guy?
Ahmed Johnson, a guy named Ahmed Johnson.
I remember him.
Terrible, yeah.
He was like injuring people in the ring, right?
He was hurting people, and he was just big, and
just
big
steroid-looking dude.
Yeah, and he couldn't understand them, and he had an attitude problem, and That's him. And, it was just one of those things. And when I came back, I was pissed, and I went to Vince and I got a promo on him, and I thought he was going to go off on me. Well, fuck, I told you if you don't like it, fuck you, get out of here, whatever. And he didn't. He was like, that's fair. That's fair. And I was like, okay, well then fucking don't do it again. I just walked out, and he was like, that's fair. You can't, if I dump that much shit on you that you just can never dig out of it, then, so he, changed that. But I think he respected the fact that
You ate.
I did the time. I never bitched. I never did anything. And now it was time for me to get out of jail. And when he did, he was like, I'm going to let you and Sean do this group thing.
Okay, so that's your reward.
It's sort of, yeah. But Sean and I immediately just go into like overdrive on it and start doing shit that he is just
So you get an opportunity to immediately try to fuck it up as fast as you possibly can.
Make up for
Why
lost
don't we
time.
just tell the whole arena to suck our dicks?
Yeah, I don't think we were trying to fuck it up, but we just had that, like, we wanted that creative freedom to go do what we wanted.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I believe that Vince was starting to see the change happening.
Yeah.
And while everybody else was going, they can't do that, and they can't say that. The TV network was telling us they can't do that, they can't say that.
Yeah.
He was being like, man, the fucking crowd is reacting to these
Is
guys.
this around like the same time Stern is popping off too?
Yes.
So there's
it's
like this,
cultural.
Yes, yeah. And as we always said in the documentary, did a brilliant job of displaying. It's like, wrestling is this great reflection of culture.
Yeah, it's a mirror of what is happening. Sometimes we're in front of it, sometimes we're just following it.
Yeah.
But there's a mirror of sort of what is happening. And I think about that period of time, like, we were pulling our pants down on TV and telling people suck it, and all the
The chef. It's the funniest.
all the
You
shit.
gotta get a picture of the apron.
Yeah,
or
suck the cook.
Yeah, not the cock.
Invited to the cookout. That's what you got to wear.
But it was politically correct because we didn't put the U in suck.
Yeah.
Right? So it was safe.
Who knows what it says? Sick the cook. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right?
But I believe he was starting to see, Austin's a bit edgier, we're a bit edgier, and that stuff's really starting to get a reaction. And it's not following yet necessarily with ratings or whatever, but the crowd is telling us that's where we want to go.
Yeah.
And again, you're seeing Stern, the Maury Povich shows, and all these shows are like so
Springer.
edgy.
Yeah.
Springer.
Yeah. There's a lot of I can't believe I'm seeing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember there was a show like, was it Hill Street Blues or something like that, where the actor at the time, and I remember his name, Dennis Franz, there was a scene where he, he's at his like apartment or something, and he comes out and he walks down a hallway and they show his naked ass on TV for like, 30 seconds while he's delivering.
Friends.
Yeah.
What an ass to show.
But it was like,
Look up Dennis.
Yeah.
people lost their minds.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, how
Probably.
could they do that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we were like, this is funny.
Yeah,
And so
I connect South Park and wrestling.
South
I
Park.
feel like
Beavis
I would
and
watch both
Butthead.
of those.
Yeah.
Beavis and
Yeah,
Butthead.
yeah.
It was like being inappropriate was very cool. There was this like rebellious nature happening in media and entertainment.
So there's a moment
Yeah.
in time where Vince comes to us now that he's getting so much shit from the network.
Probably hip hop too. When is NWA
NW's
popping?
early
Same
90s.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, same
So
time.
it's like every form of media.
Everything is rebellious and over the top and
Attitude.
like
Attitude. Yeah.
and holy shit.
And this is what year?
Shock TV,
This is late 90s probably?
96-ish.
Like Limp Bizkit, like break shit.
Yeah.
you know?
So 80s is like prim, proper. Everybody's got the suit on, hair slicked back.
The overcorrection.
and the overcut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is great. Okay.
The pendulum swings.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And
yes.
it's the overcorrection.
Okay.
And we are the overcorrection.
Yeah.
And we're pushing it to an extreme. And two things on that. There's a moment where USA Network was like, we'd come back from the ring and Vince would be like, you guys are going to get us kicked off the fucking air. Like, USA is pissed. Like, you got to stop this shit. I'm going to have no choice but to fire you guys. Right. And we're like, whatever. They're going crazy to some degree.
You could say whatever. To
No,
them? You weren't
we were
concerned?
thinking whatever.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
weren't
yeah.
saying it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there was two things on that. One is at one point USA was out of their mind. We did a show and they sent us a letter that there's a skit that we do that it looked like a presidential. Clinton had just done the.
Yeah.
I did not have sex with that. Sexual relations with that young intern. He had just done that speech. USA Network sends us a letter saying, and it was ridiculous, like, DX has gone too far. So here's the controls. From the hours of 8 to 9, they can no longer say these words. They can no longer refer to their genitalia. They can no longer say this. These words are acceptable. These are not.
Raw was 8 to 11, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So you had 2 hours.
It was 8 to 10.
Okay, 8 to 10. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So then it was, during the 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock hour, they can say these words, but they can't say these. And we were like, this is ridiculous. And Vince came to us and he was like, you guys happy now? They put restrictions on us, and this is what we can and can't do. What do we want to do here? And we were like, this is going to sound fucked up, but let us use that. Let us use that. We'll do a skit tonight to open the show where we
so
say
smart.
all this shit that's
So
on
this
it.
is
so smart.
so now you're continuing to blur reality with
Yes.
wrestling. And
So-
it feels so much more real to the audience because this is a real memo that you gotten from USA Network.
So we do this presidential, almost like this, we're in the Oval Office, and we do this presidential thing, but it breaks down between Sean and I, where he's like, God damn it. I'm like, fuck, you can't say that, dude. Shut the fuck up. And they're like, we're swearing. They're beeping out the swears and this whole thing. And then he ends it with, and I did not have sex with that young intern. Matter of fact, I was up all night. And that's sort of the skit. And we do it. And, I think Vince was partially nervous, and he's a rebel and a maverick spirit, right? So I think partially he was like, fuck yeah. And we put it out there, and the next week we got a letter back from USA. Congratulations on the ratings. funny how you used our skit against our own thing against us.
Yeah.
But it worked. Congratulations. And that was the last they criticized.